The most misunderstood fitness topic for women is fat loss. Today we're going to be talking about how to lose fat while maintaining your muscle, all while not doing endless amount of cardio and starving ourselves. Many women think fat loss is impossible simply because they've tried everything. The 30-day challenges, the no-carb diet, but it didn't give them the results they wanted. Good news is, when you understand women's health, fat loss is actually very simple. I dropped 10 pounds of fat in just 3 months this past summer by following these 3 simple steps. 1, regulating my hormones. 2, understanding nutrition. 3, a specific combination of weight training and cardio. With each step, I'm going to walk you through why it's important, the science behind it, and then practical steps of how you can integrate it into your routine now. So let's get started. The reason most women fail in fat loss is not because they're eating too much or they're not working out enough. It's actually because they haven't figured out how to regulate their hormones. There are 2 hormones that basically decide whether fat loss feels easy or impossible, and that's estrogen and cortisol. What's estrogen? It's the main female hormone. It's responsible for things like your menstrual cycle, your mood, but also where you store fat and how easily you burn it. When you have healthy levels of estrogen, your body burns fat more efficiently, meaning your metabolism is working hard. But when your estrogen is too low, usually from under eating, your body goes into survival mode. And at that point, all you're focused on is holding on to fat as much as you can. Your muscles start to break down and your cravings shoot through the roof. So, how do we regulate our estrogen and reduce our cortisol? First and most importantly is sleep. Poor sleep is going to increase your stress, which is cortisol. It's crazy to think, but even just 1 to 2 nights of really bad sleep could really throw things out of blue. So how do we make sure we're getting enough sleep? Scientific studies have shown that when you have a consistent night routine, the quality and the duration of your sleep will improve. Some of the most effective ways of triggering our brain to say it's time to go to sleep is instead of scrolling on your phone before you go to bed, replace it with a book. Also do some light nightly stretching to loosen and relax in your body. Even taking a nice hot shower before just helps calm your body and mind. And also it's very important to sleep to the same consistent sleep schedule, so that means you're going to bed and waking up at around the same time. One of the most common reasons that hormones go unregulated for women during their fat loss is because they're under eating. They're skipping meals, restricting their diet, or this puts your body into survival mode, as I mentioned. When you're fueling your body properly, having at least 3 meals a day with a snack, that signals to your body that your muscle is worth preserving and that you can safely lower body fat. So how do we fuel properly? Step number 2 is understand nutrition. Most women don't fail because they're not trying hard enough. They fail because they're guessing, aren't aware of how much they're actually eating, the calories, the protein, the serving sizes. The solution to this is tracking your macros. This might feel intimidating for some people. It could have hurt their relationship with food in the past, but actually it can be very empowering. The app that I recommend to everyone is MyFitnessPal. It's easy and the free version is great. You can track your calories and your macros. So how do we actually figure out how many calories we need to eat a day? That's why I created a macro tracking 101 guide that'll help you calculate your deficit and also the percentage for each macro. If you want to grab it, check out the link in my description. It's important to not only hit those macros, but the type of food that you're eating should be whole foods. So for protein, we want to look for lean meat like chicken breasts, lean turkey. Tuna is also great. For carbs, we want to have white rice, brown rice. We want to have potatoes. They're the most satiating food. Sweet potatoes are my favorite. So for fats, this is really important to include in your diet for your hormone health. You want to make sure it's no lower than 20% of your calories, because that is where we get into the dangerous mode of going into survival. A little bonus tip for you all, which was the absolute key to my success of dropping 10 pounds in just 3 months, was using a scale. Now I know it might sound crazy and it might seem excessive to you. This is going to just give you the peace of mind that you're eating exactly what you need to. You never have to wonder, am I eating too much? Am I eating too little? I linked my favorite scale in the description. The third and arguably most important step to losing fat while maintaining your muscle is having a training split that works for you. If you want to reduce your body fat and lean out, weight training is essential. When you lift weights during a fat loss phase, you're able to preserve your muscle, your metabolism also stays higher, and your body is burning more calories while at rest because it's recovering from your strength training sessions. The split that I used during my fat loss phase that worked amazing for me was my upper-lower split. I'm going to put it up right here so you can take take a screenshot and use it for yourself if you're interested. I love this split because it hits all the muscles with really good volume, but also allows for great recovery and rest, which is essential during a fat loss phase. It also allows some more flexibility for cardio, which is what I'm about to get into next. If you want a plan that actually works for you, I offer one-on-one coaching, fully customized training and nutrition plans. I only have a limited number of spots because I'm a busy college student, but if you're interested, there's an application in the description. Okay, now let's talk about cardio, because people get this wrong. You do not have to be running on the treadmill endlessly to see results. In fact, that's actually going to reverse the results you want to see. Running is a highly fatiguing exercise. What we want to do for fat loss is do low intensity cardio. We're keeping our heart rate within zone 2 or zone 3. That's about 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. If you have an Apple Watch, I highly recommend you use this to track your heart rate to make sure you're not going too high. But if you don't, a good cue is that you're able to hold a conversation and you're not breathing too heavy. This can be walking, incline, treadmill, biking, even a low intensity Stairmaster session. I always recommend for fat loss doing this 2 to 3 times a week for at least 20 minutes. If you follow that, you're golden. Alright, so let's recap. The reason you're failing at fat loss is probably not because you're lazy. It's mainly because people ignore the female biology and are not aware of the nutritional knowledge. You don't need a ton more cardio, you don't need to starve yourself, and you definitely don't need to purchase that challenge that promises you a 6-pack in 30 days. But what you do need is your hormones to be regulated, a good night's sleep, eating enough food to fuel your body while also understanding portion sizes, and a training split that fits your schedule that you can consistently stick to while also incorporating some low intensity cardio. When you do all those things, fat loss seems a lot less confusing and more like a predictable science. If this video was helpful, make sure you give it a like. Also, comment any questions you have for me. Thank you so much for watching.